Happy fall. Got it. We're recording. Happy fall, everybody. We're so happy that you were able to join us today to talk about how we can use social media in innovative ways to support our local associations. And based on what I know of the content of what we're going to be learning today, I think this is going to be really helpful for for us, local associations often are a side hustle, but for our real jobs as well. I think there's going to be some really useful information there. So we're going to hear from 2 or 3 folks. First, we're going to hear from Danielle Miller, who I'll introduce in a moment, and then we're going to hear from a couple of folks from the Sacramento History Museum, who are doing some innovative things with TikTok. But we're going to start with Danielle Miller. She is a social media marketer. She's actually owns one of the top rated social media marketing companies. But her focus is actually in supporting nonprofits in their work and how to engage social media strategies in innovative ways. As she puts it, it's not enough to just post on your page. It's not enough to just post on Facebook or Instagram. There are advanced functions and features that are available through those platforms that she's going to walk us through. So she's going to give us some information. At the end, there will be a choice. Either we'll have time for a Q&A or a demo. So keep that in mind. If there's time for a demo, she's just going to start walking us through things. If not, she'll leave room for questions at the end. So with that, we're so excited to have you, Danielle. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I think you're in Florida, is that right?
That's right. Yes, I am. It's nice and sunny out, and yeah, I'm very excited to get to join all of you and kind of connect with a national audience, which is very much appreciated. So I'm very excited to get started today. Do you mind if I just share my screen and we jump right in? All right. Well, I'm pulling up my screen. I would love for those of you who have access to our chat function here, if you could go ahead and put in the chat, yes, if you already have a Facebook page for your nonprofit, and a no if it's something that you're planning on doing in the future. Great. Okay, so we've got a lot of yeses. That helps me to understand where you guys are at in terms of kind of the momentum that you've built. So what's really a great perspective to take into consideration when you are planning your marketing for your nonprofit is what feels manageable. I don't advise you to be on every network everywhere trying to get content out. What is better is to focus in on where you think your volunteers, supporters, and donors are going to be. A lot of times right now, that's going to be Facebook and Instagram. So 6 in 10 adults right now are on Facebook. So we've got the majority of adults, and almost 1 out of every 2 adults who are over 65 are on Facebook. So that's where I find a lot of our nonprofits get volunteers. So it's really important that you're having a profile there, but I'm also going to give you another handful of ways to use Facebook to be a little more proactive in how you reach people. Instagram is up and coming. And the very nice thing about Instagram is that because it is owned by the same company that owns Facebook, it's the company that used to be called Facebook, but that is now called Meta. So that company, because it's one umbrella company, you can actually manage your Instagram and your Facebook from one place. And a lot of the content is interchangeable. So a piece of content you put on Instagram can also get used on Facebook. So generally, those are the 2 platforms that nonprofits choose first. And if I'm recommending a third, it's going to be YouTube. And that's simply because you're getting the search engine leverage. You're leveraging the power of search engines when you're getting on YouTube. People can search on Google for, nonviolent communication, right? And they can find a nonprofit's organization's video on YouTube about nonviolent communication. So in that way, it's a really effective way to broaden your social media reach while also getting people who have never heard of you to be introduced to your organization. So let's dive down a little bit on how you're using Facebook and how we can be really strategic about it. So first of all, right now, coincidentally, there is this huge shift happening with Facebook, which is that business pages are being automatically upgraded to Meta Business Suite. So Meta Business Suite is an all-in-one tool. I'll switch my screen over here so you can kind of see what Meta Business Suite looks like. So it looks a little bit different than your typical page. It has a master menu here on the side where you can schedule your posts. You can kind of look at all your scheduled posts for a week or the month. You can schedule your stories, which is a really effective and efficient way to reach people who already follow you. And then it also has a master inbox where you can manage direct messages from Instagram or Facebook or the Facebook chat plugin, like the messenger plugin that can go on a website. So it gives you one single hub for managing all of those inbox notifications. And then the other big feature with Meta Business Suite is the insights. So having the ability to set goals for your organization in terms of how many people you're going to reach or how many followers you have, to quickly scroll down and see, how your page is growing in terms of followers. So using this Meta Business Suite effectively, it's strongly recommended. You're basically being forced into it by Facebook, but the good news is it's a great tool and it's totally free. If you do have further questions about Meta Business Suite, it's quite comprehensive. I actually just taught a 2-hour class only on Meta Business Suite on Wednesday. So I do have the recording of that available if anybody needs to reach out to me. I have a nonprofit discount that I can extend, and that way you guys can get Meta Business Suite kind of in your grasps and start using it efficiently. The second really big thing that I hope you guys are doing with your Facebook accounts is using and leveraging Facebook events. There's 2 reasons that using Facebook events are really important. The first is that with your Facebook event, not only are people going to get a reminder notification, and they're going to get, it's going to tell their friends when they have signed up for your event, but it also can show up in Google search results if somebody's looking for a local event in your area. So that's a really powerful reason why we want to be on Facebook events. Now, Facebook events don't have to be your major milestone events, which they certainly could be if you have like an annual fundraiser. We definitely want to get that out there. But something as simple as there's a volunteer meetup on Saturday morning to, give back to the community. That counts as an event and should get posted on Facebook with the location tag. So if we do have time for the demo, Facebook events is where I'd like to walk you through, because there's a couple little spots where you can fill out that will help you reach more people. But before we get into that, I want to talk to you about the third really important feature I hope you guys are all using on Facebook, and that is Facebook groups. In fact, the majority of really valuable discussions and interactions that are happening on social media right now are happening in groups. So you can look for groups. You can either join a group that already exists, or you can create your own group. So you have 2 options there. So for example, this is the Hands on Maui Volunteer Center is one of our clients, and they started a group to connect our local volunteers and our local nonprofits. So for example, you guys could create a group for volunteers in your area, or if you have a specific topic, like for example, if you are in youth and family services, you could create a youth and family services group on Facebook. What is really powerful about the groups is that Facebook will actually send notifications to your group members if they have missed posts that you've put up in your group. it allows for a lot more two-way discussion. So people can ask, hey, anybody know about volunteer opportunities that I can do this weekend? And then there can be a little more dialogue about it. Or for your particular nonprofit, if you guys have questions about, hey, who's our tech guru in the group? We have a tech question. You can start to really build your resource network and connect with them on Facebook. So to find Facebook groups, like for example, if we were to look up youth and family, all I'm doing is going in Facebook, not in Meta Business Suite or anything, just Facebook. I'm typing in youth and family, and then I have this filter on the left-hand side, and one of the options is groups. So you can actually filter and find groups either in your area, if you change your search term to be your geographic area, or by topic, and then you can join the group. Some groups will allow you to join as yourself, personal, like Danielle Miller, or some will actually allow you to join as your nonprofit's business page. So I could join as Hands on Maui. And then all the posts that I'm putting into that group will be branded with the nonprofit organization. It's not up to us which groups allow businesses and which groups do not. When you click the join button, usually it's going to pop up and ask you, so this group allows you to join as a business or a nonprofit, as opposed to just joining as myself. So that's going to be how you know if you're able to join as the business, as the nonprofit. Okay. So leverage your events, leverage your groups, use your Meta Business Suite. And then on an annual basis, if you guys have some really big goals, for example, one of my clients who's a nonprofit agency is Mana'o Radio. They are a local community radio station, 100% volunteer run. And at Mana'o Radio, this happens to be their 20th anniversary year. So they had a really big marketing plan for this year to leverage the fact that it's their 20th anniversary. So there was budget set aside for ads. And we're able to strategically place ads on Instagram and on Facebook that help bring in donations, that help drive website traffic, that help grow the email list, and help boost event attendance. So ads can be used in a lot of ways. What you want to be careful with your Facebook ads is that if you get caught up using the boost button that Facebook puts everywhere, right? They put that big blue button, there it is right down here in the corner. They put that big blue button just about everywhere for you. When you are using boost, the analogy I like to give is this: it's as if you're getting into kindergarten, you're going into a kindergarten class and expecting at the end of the year to come out with a doctorate. All right, this is the most simple, basic tool for running ads, and it's extremely limiting in helping you achieve your goals. All you're doing with the boost button is really paying Facebook to show your post to more people. Instead, Facebook has something called the Ads Manager, which if you're in Meta Business Suite, and again, all of you will be forced to upgrade to Meta Business Suite if you haven't been already, and you go into all tools, you can access Ad Manager right down here under the Advertise section. And this is the tool that's really going to be robust enough for you to choose your goals, be very specific with your audience, decide how you want to allocate your budget, test different pictures, test different wording. And so you definitely want to be using Ad Manager for that, so that you get the most out of every dollar that you're investing into advertisements. All right, so a couple of more things. The last three things here are all connected. And you may have seen this where it's somebody's birthday, right? And they choose a nonprofit to request that people give to their nonprofit in celebration of their birthday. And so what they've done to do that is they signed up as a charitable organization with Facebook. They have linked, the nonprofit has linked in with Facebook payments, and only at that point can somebody choose your organization as the recipient of their donations. So I did provide this slideshow to Gretchen and the team. So when they send it all out to you, these are all active links that will take you right to the page on Facebook that tells you exactly how to sign up as a charitable organization and how to allow yourself to accept donations from personal fundraisers. So these can be very effective. We raised, I worked with an organization last year where we raised over $11,000 on Facebook, just Facebook alone. And so it can be very effective to sign up with their tools. All right, so are there any questions real quick on Facebook before I touch on Instagram? And then we're gonna probably have to wrap up for the Q&A section. All right. All right, so we're gonna keep running. So the big thing I need you to know about Instagram is that right now it's all about Reels, Instagram Reels. In fact, most of my clients are cutting back on the amount of posts that they do and doubling down on the amount of Reels that they're doing, because Reels are bringing in new followers and new viewers where posts aren't really getting seen organically nearly as much as they used to. The thing you want to know about Instagram, Reels can help bring you a new audience and engage your existing followers. Stories reach only your existing followers. So if you're putting a lot of effort into stories, but you're not getting more followers, that's why. And then your posts can, for the most part, they're reaching a small percentage of your followers. And then if you have the right hashtags, you have a chance to reach a couple people who are not your followers. And again, Instagram and Facebook are both owned by Meta. So when you sign up for the charitable giving tools, then you'll be able to accept donations with Instagram as well. And watch for the opportunities to partner with people who already have Instagram followings, because that's going to be one of your best ways to get introduced to new audiences for free. All right, I'm gonna stop the major part of the presentation. This last piece is kind of a bonus for you guys to see when you get the handout. It just walks you through an efficient way to manage your social media. I'll stop sharing and we'll just check in with Jen.
Yeah, so any questions that have popped up yet, or would people rather go straight into using the time for a demo? Going once.
Yeah, I see demo.
Demo. Okay. Then let's demo. Okay, thank you,
demo. And I'll try to be quick and to be respectful of everybody's time here. So where I am now is I'm just on a Facebook business page, right? So from your business page, either right here in this top menu, or by clicking down on more, you're going to access events. From your events page, you will have the option, make this a little smaller, to see all the events that you have run before. Okay, so this would be key. And you can click on an event and you can either duplicate it, or you can use it as a template if you had events run in the past. And then you'll see when I clicked on that, now I'm over here in the events screen. So you can see up here, I've got this events. Let me turn on my spotlight. So I have the events right up here. Okay. So now I have create new event, but before I click that, I need to make sure I'm interacting as the right page. So you can see here, this is how you're able to toggle either down there or up here, to where you can toggle so that you're interacting as your nonprofit organization instead of just yourself. So I'm swapping now over. So I'm interacting as the nonprofit, but I'm still here on the events tab, and I can hit create new event. Right off the bat, Facebook has begun separating events that are online versus in person. So a lot of your volunteer opportunities are likely to be in person. With your event name, I want you to be very aware of the keywords that somebody is going to type into Google for which you want them to discover your event. So for example, let's say it's a youth and family services fundraising picnic. Okay, I'm just kind of making up an event. Somebody's not going to type in youth and family services picnic, right? They might type in like family picnic, support youth, you know, and then I can say support youth and family services with at this fundraising event, right? So you get the idea there, where now you're taking into consideration the words that you think somebody is going to type in when you're naming your event. For the date, you definitely want to have a start and end date. If you have an event, like say every Saturday, you gather volunteers and you guys do yard work at a senior's home. You want to set that up as a recurring event, because as people say that they're interested in your event, it will remind them week after week that there's another opportunity to participate. So definitely use that recurring event feature if you can, if you do have events that happen on a regular schedule. With your description, again, you want to think about the keywords people are typing in, but also it's key here that you're actually encouraging people to take an action. So you might say something like register today for the picnic, right? So you want to tell them what the action is that you're hoping they're going to take. Choose the best category that you can. This will help Facebook recommend your event to people, but they're extremely limited. We don't really get a lot of options with the categories. Okay, so let me see, what is it waiting on me to do? So probably pick a category. All right, so let's say it's a party and we're gonna go next. Okay, so this is the really important piece I wanted to point out, which is you need to be filling in a location, a geographic location for your event, and be as specific as you can. So for example, instead of picking the island of Maui, I would pick the specific address where my nonprofit is. So instead of picking, Seattle, Washington, I would pick, my nonprofit's specific address, because as Facebook begins to recommend your event to other people, you will only qualify to show up in search results for locations that are more broad than yours. So if you picked Seattle and somebody's searching for something in your neighborhood, you won't show up. But if you pick something in your neighborhood, you will show up for anybody searching in Seattle. Okay, so definitely fill out that location, fill out any requirements that you have for health and safety.
Real quick question here, Danielle.
Yep.
Sorry, real quick question on the location. If you have an online event, like it's all virtual, does it allow you to put that in somewhere? Or?
Yes, at that very first screen, it asks you right when you go to create an event, is it online or is it in person? And so you just want to make sure you go the route of choosing online in that case. And it will ask you to put in the link, like where's your Zoom link? It'll ask you where online is it happening. So yeah, so do be careful to make your cover image catchy. It's worth your time to pick something that is really going to attract people, because it's going to be visually symbolic of your event. And then be sure to look through the event settings, those advanced settings, because you can add co-hosts. And every co-host you add, when they accept the invitation to be a co-host, it shows it to all of their followers and friends as well. So adding co-hosts is really important for expanding your reach. Okay, I think that's all we have time for in terms of the events. I want to just thank you guys, and my contact details I think will be shared with you in the presentation. So if you need any of that training on Meta Business Suite, please reach out to me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Danielle. So much good information. Thank you. I think I'll enjoy going back and rewatching that on the video as well. So thank you so much. It's really helpful. And I know you have to scoot, so you're welcome to stay as long as you can, but I know you've got to go. So anyway, it was wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for sharing all of that information. Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to pivot over to TikTok. And I will admit, I don't know very much about TikTok. So I'm very interested to hear from our next presenters. So Susan Vaskel Starovich.
Yep.
Starovich.
Vasco Starcevich, yep.
Starcevich. Okay, I'm so sorry. Mary Lynn filled me in early and I lost it already because that's just how my brain works. So
Don't
anyway,
worry.
education manager and Jared Jones, the digital content coordinator, both from the Sacramento History Museum. They've been working with TikTok in some really unique and innovative ways and have built up quite a little TikTok situation over there. So I'm really excited to hear how you've leveraged it for your organization. And we can all be thinking about how we can steal your ideas. So thank you so much for sharing with us. It's very generous.
Of course, thank you for having us. And I just wanted to say too, I really enjoyed Danielle's presentation. I learned a lot. I took notes too. So we're always learning from each other. So I just want to start by saying, if anything that we say on here is confusing or you need help with it, please reach out. We want everyone to feel like they have the tools needed to be successful on these platforms, and TikTok can be intimidating. So definitely don't be afraid to reach out. And I also noted too in Danielle's presentation that she said if you start with Facebook and Instagram, the next thing you want to do is YouTube. And we definitely agree. We found great success with TikTok, and now it's kind of transitioned into great success with YouTube, and now our Instagram is catching up. And so we definitely don't use just one platform. We're using all of them. And I'm going to let Jared talk more about that at the end, probably, because we want to start with sort of our story and just how you don't start big, you start small and you start manageable, and then it can grow from there. So you don't have to, get a big success right away. I am going to share my screen. We've got a fun PowerPoint to engage everyone that has embedded videos in it. So get ready to see some TikTok if you haven't already. And then I'm going to turn it over to Jared, who runs all of our social media accounts. And it was his idea for us to get on TikTok in the first place. And I am very sure that if he hadn't pushed it, it would have been, we would have done it without him. So I'm going to mute and let Jared take over.
Hello, everybody. Susan and I are going to be going back and forth, muting and unmuting, because technically she's actually sitting 5 feet behind me. So just so that there's not an echo or anything like that. But hello, everybody. My name is Jared Jones, and I am the digital content coordinator at the Sacramento History Museum. And I am somehow, according to TikTok, the creator and manager of the most followed history museum account in the world on the app. With currently, I just looked this morning, 2,311,000 followers, and which is unheard of. It's, I think, the second museum on the app has 1.4 million. And so this, when you think about what can social media do for your organization, this is it. And so what I'm going to be talking a lot is our story, how this came to be, and how this is realistic for everybody. Because I could tell you that I'm 30 years old. Today's actually my 30th birthday, everybody. But I don't know social media really at all. Danielle was talking about things, and Susan was asking me, did you know about this? And I said, I don't know anything. Don't ask me about any of these tools and tricks and everything. But somehow this is possible, because if it was possible for me, it is possible for you. So let's get started. Can you go to the next slide? Oh, thank you, Susan. I am very long-winded. Do not hesitate to ask any questions along the way, because we're all here to learn. I learn something every day, and we've given this presentation a few times, and I feel like I learned something new as I did this. So I first heard about TikTok in the spring of 2019, and I made a personal account. I posted some videos from my other job. I work at another museum in Sacramento, California, and they went nowhere. I didn't really see any history content on TikTok at this time. I didn't really see any content on TikTok at all that wasn't just songs and dances. That's pretty much the stereotype of TikTok. And I could tell you that everything continues to evolve, and they just also had a major update the last couple weeks ago. So I'll actually be talking about that a little bit later too, just how everything about TikTok is trying to pretty much copy other social media accounts, while other social media channels are trying to copy TikTok model all at the same time. So I deleted TikTok in 2019. Fast forward to April 2020, the museum is closed. We are all in lockdown, and for my other job, I was able to attend the National Association for Interpretation's InterpTech conference. This was a conference specifically for museums and historic sites, and how you could use TikTok, or how you could use social media for your institution. And they presented on TikTok. And the video they showed was a man by the name of Tim Pierce from the Carnegie Museum of Natural History. I don't know how much that you've gone on TikTok or looked at other museums on social media, but Tim Pierce is by far my inspiration. He tells snail jokes. He at a natural history museum. He is, I believe, he is in his early 60s, and he just god awful puns about snails, and it just was successful for them. It was, and so they are currently at about 300,000 TikTok followers, but they also have a massive following on Instagram, and that's where it all started for them. Was on Instagram initially. So I wanted to give TikTok another shot. So I started secretly posting content from my personal account that I reactivated, and I quickly gained over 25,000 followers, just with some viral videos talking about idioms, talking about things that I thought was interesting in the museum. And I noticed that my printing videos sparked some interest. So here at the Sacramento History Museum, we focus on early Sacramento history in the California Gold Rush. Much of our museum is a static museum with displays, but we have a print shop exhibit that we actually have working equipment that is over 150 years old. And so when I started talking about uppercase and lowercase and out of sorts and all those kinds of phrases and how they came from printing, I knew that there was something to this. I needed to actually film somebody for this. I was just kind of showing my camera on this stuff. So I wanted to take this a step further, and I formally created an account in June 2020 for the museum. That was after I had asked my coworkers and supervisors, one of them being Susan, about creating this account, and I got a collective eye roll from everybody, because at this time, at the height of the pandemic, TikTok was looking at being banned in the United States because our certain president that we had did not like it. So it was going to be potentially banned. So I knew that there was some controversy around it, but I was given the green light to at least try. And that's the biggest thing. Everything in this is an experiment, and everything about what we did was just seeing what we could do. My coworkers were able to change what they were doing, being in charge of programs or school field trips, changing those into a digital format. I wanted to see what I could do during the museum's closure. So on July 22nd, 2020, I posted our first TikTok video. It's this part of it that is on the screen right now. Just it was a promotion for our virtual summer camp, and it went nowhere. But that's the thing. You're gonna have some that go nowhere, especially when you're starting. So the biggest thing is also to not get discouraged about how TikTok is either. Next slide, Susan. So why TikTok? It was the way, as I mentioned, that I was able to kind of stay busy at the museum. Before the pandemic, I worked mainly on the front desk at the museum, just in admissions a couple days a week. And I wrote this day in history and national holiday type posts for our Facebook and Instagram, highlighting either items in our museum or photographs or drawings from archival institutions as a way of sharing history in a digital format. Making videos was the next step in all this. So that's why I wanted to give TikTok a shot, because this is what a lot of other social media accounts were sort of looking to at this time. TikTok was the growing platform after all. So next one. So then it came to Howard, and I don't know how much that if you've looked at our account, but Howard is he has a massive cult following, and I feel like I have created it. I feel like I am just the master behind creating this huge following that he has that he doesn't get at all. Howard is 85 years old, and he has been a volunteer at the Sacramento History Museum for over 23 years. When he retired, he was looking for something to do, and his wife had a previous connection to the museum. She was the registrar for the archives connected to our museum. So he sort of had an involvement with the museum ever since we opened in 1985. But it's in 1999 that he started volunteering in our print shop exhibit, doing presentations for our school groups. And one of our presentations is our Gold Rush program that includes a presentation where we show kids how a newspaper was printed at the time of the Gold Rush, because it's, after all, the newspaper is that spread the word of the gold discovery here. And so I proposed asking him if I could film him for videos on TikTok. We were going to be doing virtual field trips. He finally was able to come into the museum, and we were looking at putting stuff on YouTube, because there's all different things out there that teachers were trying to use during the pandemic. Flipgrid was one. We didn't know if Howard was going to be able to be in as often as he was with the pandemic. So we wanted to look at having some recorded content on YouTube of his normal presentation. But I asked him if I could take certain portions of that, break it on down for TikTok, because the videos originally on TikTok had to be under 59 seconds. And he asked me the question, what is TikTok? And I said, Howard, it's a video sharing app. Just whatever you do, don't go home and look it up. And the unfortunate thing is he went home and looked it up. Here he is right now. We're filming a bunch of videos this morning. Howard and I only work together 2 days a week. And you got to come on camera a little bit here. Okay. Yeah, there we go. There you're on camera. There you are. Howard and I only work together 2 days a week. So if you ever see our social media, all those videos are filmed on Wednesdays and Fridays. Those are the only days I'm here that overlap with him, who's here 3 weekday mornings a week. So Howard came back and he said that he looked up TikTok and he was very embarrassed because he said that he looked on the app and he just saw dancing and everything else on there. And he told me I would never be able to film him. And I said, well, we're not going to be doing that. Please give it a shot. And we did. We posted a couple videos of him talking about the equipment. They had a little bit of success. That's what one of them on the right side is about. He's talking about our Washington hand press that was made about 170 years ago by the Charles Foster and Brother Company. But in our next slide is where things really took a turn, because not only are we talking about the equipment, but we're actually using it. Yep. You don't have to bend down anymore, Howard. I'm sorry. I don't want you to have to.
She looked at that and would like that.
Oh, okay. So what makes our videos special? And this is a great example of one. This kind of highlights what I think is the trifecta of Howard in the print shop. This video does play, right? No. Hold on one moment.
I'm sorry, I forget you have to do this, the sound on these. I always forget how to do that. So give me 1 second. Here we go, share sound. Okay.
Daytime, one of our staff, Sean, does some artwork because we do a holiday card. Once that's approved, the artwork goes to a supplier who makes the cut, and then we print the cards.
So what this video is a good example of is not only do we talk about the equipment, but we actually use it. And there's definitely a soothing side of the sounds and everything of the press. And I really think what has resonated well with our audience is that Howard is a lot older than much of the people on TikTok. So he is an older gentleman using a social media app, or he is an older gentleman demonstrating how people would receive their information and news over 150 years ago on the platform that people predominantly get their news and information from today. And that has been the biggest thing of all. And this, not this one in particular, but the first time that I filmed Howard using this press, he also ends with pressmen like to make a good impression. And so it just adds that there's that pun in there. And this video, that video, it was posted the day after Thanksgiving 2020, had 50,000 views overnight. And we only had 100 followers. So that is the thing. Like, you don't have to have your followers. You can have a huge following, which is great for making sure that your videos always get seen by a lot of people, but you don't need to have a large following to get started. Any video has the capability of going viral. And I think that is the next slide. So going viral. We have, I believe we're at about 280 million collective views on TikTok across our videos, with 30.6 million likes on our videos as well, and hundreds of thousands of comments and shares. And with all this, we have videos where the one on the far left is talking about our following. Howard's printing a newspaper headline that discusses our next milestone of how many followers that we had. That video got, that one got 17 million views. The one in the middle, we're able on TikTok, you're able to respond to comments on videos with a video. And so we get a lot of people asking questions that are quite simple, and we take it to the extreme. Somebody asked, is this a printing press? And Howard went through the very long, convoluted way to print the word yes. And then there's the one on the far right is a video of me cleaning the Inkstone, which has about 3/4 views. So it's not so much Howard. Howard is definitely our star, but we have success with all of our staff members. Susan, a video that I posted 2 days ago about our May Woolsey trunk, that is a trunk that belonged to a 12-year-old girl who passed away, and her family collected all of her belongings, stuck it in the stairway of their house, and it was found 100 years later, and it's been on display at our museum. It's the perfect time capsule of a child's life. We have a school program that is all about it. That video is at 150,000 views from 2 days ago. So we have videos highlighting anything and everything. We have videos where we highlight neighborhoods and everything too. So everything has success, but it always does go back to our print shop being our predominant niche. And that's when whatever organization that you have, you find your niche, you find what is successful, and you roll with it. And I'm not meaning that as a pun because we're rolling ink or anything like that, but that is one of the things. I use the printing press to tell some history story where the punchline is the print that I pull off at the very end. So it could even be nothing that is printing related. I'm still going to go to the printing press sometimes to tell a story. And that's what you find that works for your organization too. You find a good person that is your main presenter. You find what works and you go with it, because sometimes going away from what is your normal thing is a big gamble. And I think the video posted a couple days ago with our May Woolsey trunk that Susan did was a gamble. I did wonder what that was going to be, and it had a big payoff. And I hope that in that video, it was in and of itself a promotion for our field trip. So we hope that in the midst of all that, we have teachers signing up for our school programs. Everything behind all this stuff is marketing deep down. Let's see, what is our next slide? So yeah, TikTok is also the predominant source for trends. And Jen mentioned about copying us potentially. Everything about TikTok is copying. That's what trends are. So everything, if you know what memes are and everything, these are memes in video format. Essentially, there'd be a trending sound or a trending a way that people told some sort of thing. You find that thousands of people are doing that same thing. So you become part of the overall TikTok community and doing these sort of trends. And these trends do get copied over to other social media platforms too. So the one on the far left was a video that I believe it was Vogue magazine at the height of the pandemic had some trend about how you could create a Victorian ballroom dress in your own home using a pillow and a blanket and a sheet and all this stuff. Well, we took that trend and all those steps as this guy is talking it, overlaid it on a video where Zoe is actually doing the actual period appropriate attire that we have in our costume closet for it. There was also we use trends sometimes for museum updates, for an unfortunate museum closure. Last year we had to close for about a week outside. So there was a lot of these trends were going around and they just worked way too perfectly. Or they could be trends that actually tell absolutely nothing at all, just being a part of the community itself, the one on the far right. And it's still, you find success in that. You don't necessarily grow a following based off of trends. Not so much of people follow you because of a trend that you've done, but they are definitely a way to just really get yourself out there. You do find some success, but your true core thing that you want to stick to is what your message is all along about your organization. Not so much, don't think you have to do one trend after another or anything like that. So this all leads to our impacts on TikTok and where TikTok can take you. So this has been a long journey for all of us at the Sacramento History Museum. In the end of March 2021, we reached 1 million TikTok followers. And at the same time, we got verified. We got that fancy blue check next to our name on TikTok. And we were featured in the Washington Post. Howard and I were interviewed for that. We were interviewed by National Public Radio. We've actually been interviewed by National Public Radio a few times. And we were featured on all the different local news stations because of us going viral. So not only were getting, our name was getting out to people, not necessarily just through TikTok, but because of the media surrounding our success on TikTok. So we had people coming in. We were still closed at the during a lot of this, and we had our gift shop open. We had people stopping by simply because they had seen us on the news. And so all of a sudden, our other social media accounts really started to grow, and I started to post content on our other channels too. And I could tell you, as somebody who I overwhelmingly thought I gave up on Facebook and Instagram some time ago, but our most viral video is on Facebook. A 17-minute video of Howard operating our jobbing press is at 65 million views. And our Instagram, when I started posting This Day in History stuff on there about 5 years ago, we had 500 subscribers or 500 followers. And up until 3 weeks ago, we had about 10,000. And I thought I had done the greatest thing ever. I had reached 10,000 on Instagram. I was happy. And then a video went viral because Instagram has changed their whole algorithm, and they've been pushing reels, as Danielle had mentioned. And everybody has been trying to copy TikTok's model of an algorithm that spits out to you random videos. Whether you follow the person or not, there's an endless stream on your phone. Everything is filmed vertically. Everything is filmed vertically now because the predominant way that people are watching video now are on this, held in this direction, not this way. And so that has been the driver for a lot of these other accounts. With Instagram, with Reels, YouTube has adopted YouTube Shorts. And I take the same video that I post on TikTok and post it on all of our other channels because we have a different audience on all those different channels. I've never had one person say, oh, well, I can't follow you on that account because I already see all your stuff. We actually do have a wide variety of things that are different based on each platform. Obviously, I can't post pictures on TikTok or anything like that. Can't promote events on TikTok like you can on Facebook or anything. So that every channel is different, but at least for those videos, the core videos that I create with Howard, that I create with our other staff members, those go across all of ours, and those are daily posts. I post at least a video a day, either this day in history or a national holiday type thing. For example, today is National Baker Day. So I just filmed Howard. I'll need to edit it after this presentation of a cut that was used in an advertisement for bread that was made in 1936. He printed it on our Washington hand press. And that's sort of the basis for a lot of our videos. Or for example, tomorrow is National Ghost Hunting Day. And I hope that I could film with one of my coworkers here, Allie or Susan. We have our ghost tours happening next month. So using these national holidays as a basis to, because a lot of other organizations post these sort of things based on national holidays, that gives my videos a relevance, our videos are relevance to post out on a particular day and to be enjoyed on that day itself. But our success on TikTok has transferred to other social media channels, and everything is starting to grow on YouTube. We received one of those fancy YouTube plaques for reaching 100,000 subscribers. They sent us it late, because by the time we received it, we were at over 300,000 subscribers. Everything, we are in a massive growth stage again. As I mentioned, our TikTok account had 2 weeks ago had 12,000 followers. Or on Instagram, we had 12,000 followers. We are now at we're at over 42,000. So even since Susan put these new slides in 2 days ago, we already have gained thousands of new followers, thousands of new subscribers across all of our platforms. And some videos have success on one channel and not so much on another one, but that's okay, because I don't really care, because I always have another video to go out the next day. So we are definitely, my mindset is more the quantity side instead of quality. I'm definitely not putting on a lot of bells and whistles or anything like that. I am filming on my iPhone and editing on my iPhone using an app called CapCut. And that's been, yeah, CapCut is free. Yeah, so this is some of the tips and tricks that we have. And I definitely think above all is consistency. You want to be consistent. Now, if you include all of our different stuff going on, either promoting an event or a This Day in History written post, a video, and all that, we are looking at least a couple posts a day on each platform. A lot of those are the same. If it's a video, it's being posted across the same, but they're all edited in the same format. I believe TikTok says for an account like ours, at least once a day, but getting started around 2 to 4 times a week is a good way of staying consistent. Filmed vertical, the algorithm on TikTok actually suppresses videos that are filmed horizontally, and you want to have your first 3 seconds are a hook. So you don't want to begin a video necessarily with no talking at all, or talking about your title or something like that at your institution. Just go right into what's the point of your video, because people are endlessly scrolling on their phones. If you don't hook them within those first 3 seconds, they've already swiped on to the next video. And they're usually 15 to 30 seconds is ideal. Now, when we gave this presentation initially in Boston, Massachusetts at a museums conference, TikTok has changed their algorithm. Now they're actually looking at 45 to 59 seconds as the ideal if you have a compelling story to tell in what you're trying to accomplish in your video. But the keeping it under a minute is important. TikTok, you're allowed to go up to 10 minutes now for videos. I wouldn't go anywhere over 2 minutes necessarily, but YouTube Shorts have to be under a minute, and Instagram Reels have to be under a minute and a half so that they're part of that regular Reels or Shorts algorithm where they're put out to a large audience that's not necessarily just your followers. And then we film videos for hard file onto the phone, and then I edit from there on an app called CapCut, as I mentioned, CapCut. And that actually, CapCut is able to splice video segments together. You can edit out sections, and it also does auto captioning too, free auto captioning, which used to cost a lot of money when you think about editing videos a few years ago. It is free with this app. There's some you have to go into and maybe change a little bit of spelling here or there and add punctuation, but it'll at least line up the words with that segment on the video, and that is what streamlines the process for me heavily. You could even overlay pictures on your video and stuff like that too. And then we put this out on all social media sites. Now, there might be videos that we have just on TikTok and maybe on YouTube as well, if they're more mainly TikTok related. But when it comes to our general content, that'll get put on all of our platforms because we have just simply a different audience on all of them. It's important to have good sound equipment. Not only do we film with a newer iPhone, we also have sound equipment so that your microphones, you're not being filmed and sounds like you're in a hallway or anything like that, and it'll help cut down other noise on the videos too. And then it is also important really that if you are putting out any content, whether it's a video or not on any platform, that you respond to the comments. You don't just put something out and then just let it be. A lot of times people have questions that they ask, and it's a way of really engaging with their audience, and then they know you sort of really build a rapport with your audience. And for us, when it comes to, in some cases, responding to comments, it's with another video. To go back to Susan's video about the May Woolsey trunk on our third floor, a lot of people asked in the comments, can we see some of the items up close? So that'll be a whole separate video. We were just telling the story about the trunk being on display. We didn't go into detail about what is on display. So that's a whole separate video itself. And when you respond to a comment on a video, it links those two videos together. So that video is easier to be found by people when they watch both of them. What else? So I think I had, do we have another slide, or is this? So these are some, I know that we all have different organizations on this presentation here, but this was something that we put together for a museum's presentation. Look to see what other similar organizations that are out there to what your mission is, and see if there is not only similarities that could be done. There's nothing wrong with having similar thoughts and ideas. We all have, if you have similar organizations, it's not necessarily stealing or anything. Now, if somebody was to start stealing some of the phrases that we say in our videos, which I did see another museum do that recently, and I was like, you know, that's actually regular, like plagiarism at that point. Howard films me for videos, and when I'm in them, and I usually end a video with press the red button, Howard, because originally Howard didn't know how to end the first video. And so I said, you press the red button on the video, Howard. And people say that I can't not say it anymore. And well, so I saw another museum have a video and they ended with that. And I was like, that's a little bit fishy right there. But overall, I have found this to be a rewarding experience. I have found that this is not just TikTok. Short form videos is what this all is. TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. Those are short form videos. That is the future of social media. YouTube had always been our dumping ground for past programs and recordings. And I tried to post some videos on TikTok initially and got little success, but being consistent, something takes off. And once something takes off, you have that audience that you could build from, and you just keep at it. And do not hesitate to ever reach out to Susan and I if you have any questions on anything. We are here to help. I don't want to be the only museum or anything like that that has this sort of a following. I want to see more organizations using TikTok in this positive manner. This doesn't have to be just about TikTok, about dances and trends and everything. There is something worthwhile about all this. And if you're looking to connect and find a new audience, why not use the new platform that everybody is using, and especially younger people? And I hope that in all of our efforts here at the museum and these videos with Howard, that it's helped to highlight not only what our museum is, but what museums are as a whole, and how vital volunteers are to our institutions. Because we wouldn't be able to function without them. And we've been able to highlight a lot of our other volunteers in our videos too. And I hope that it has helped with getting our name out and maybe reaching more people that want to volunteer at our institution. So you never know what can happen. You never know how far that you're going to go, but you got to at least try and put yourself out there. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jared. I love so much about what you just shared with us. Thank you so much. There are a few questions that I captured on the chat. But first, I want to say happy birthday, Jared. It's so generous of you to join us on your birthday. I really appreciate that you said that you were unfamiliar with this when you first started. That gives me some hope. If you're 29, now 30 today, and you weren't TikToking or whatever, that there are hope from us who are, for those of us who are maybe over 30. I also appreciate that Danielle gave us really practical, practical information about how to leverage these accounts. And a lot of what you focused on was really the emotional hook, and how we can bring people in. And you're talking about building community and connection in really authentic ways. So I appreciate that so much. And Howard, I mean, such a representation of how volunteers are powerhouses, and they can have a truly transformational impact. So thank you so much for all that you shared. A few questions that came up. If you could go back and rename the editor app that you were using. I think somebody put it in chat. Oh yeah, Susan put it in chat. CapCut.
Yeah, and it's on, it's in the regular, what is it? The Apple Store, App Store and everything. So you can
Okay.
find it there. And as I mentioned, it is free. And
Okay.
that is the best part. You could even overlay sound and music and stuff like that too. And it's a lot of this is practice. That's where I didn't want to go into like how to make a video on TikTok today, because it's different for everybody. And whatever your end goal is will be different depending on what you use. Sometimes people film and edit videos directly in the TikTok app itself, but I find CapCut to be easier. That way you don't have to worry about downloading a video from TikTok and then uploading it onto another one and worrying about watermarks and stuff like that.
Okay. Do you do everything right on your phone then, or do you do some of it on your computer? Okay.
All video editing is on my phone. Now
On your phone.
I did lie. We do film with a museum phone, and then I upload everything to a cloud. We have OneDrive, and then I download it to have on my phone. So I don't have every single video is housed on my phone itself. We keep it saved in a cloud somewhere, wherever that cloud is.
Could you guess about how long it takes you from start to finish to do one of these, film, edit, post?
Howard and I filmed 8 videos this morning, and our biggest thing that we have to contend with is our custodial staff vacuuming and getting the museum ready for us to be open, which is why we start filming at about 7:30 in the morning. It depends on how long the video is. It depends on if I have to edit out sections. I would say it takes me about a half hour to edit a minute video if I don't have to worry about putting any pictures or anything like that on it. Sometimes Howard talks a little bit slower, and sometimes I have to speed up a little bit parts to get it under a minute, and that could be a little bit tricky at times. But overall, 30 minutes to an hour for a video.
Okay. Well, I want to join TikTok just to watch these videos. I want to go to Sacramento to visit this museum now. And so, Susan, I'm curious, what are the practical results that you've seen? Have you seen increased traffic at the museum? Have you seen increased donor activity? Like, what have there been like obvious results from this amazing work he's been doing?
I know. Yes, I would say we've definitely seen people who come to our museum now because they've seen us on whatever platform it might be. Definitely TikTok, you get the younger kids, and we don't like pull the people who come in like, why are you here? But a lot of them, you kind of see them like whispering and pointing. We've got Flat Howard, we call him Flat Howard, which is just a cutout of Howard in the print shop at all times, because that's what is so famous, and people go and take pictures and you're like, I know why you're here. So that's been helpful. And I mean, in that way, when our museum was able to reopen after pandemic closures and whatnot, that has helped a lot. I think everybody has experienced a very slow kind of build up to where we were in 2019. And certainly having this kind of notoriety has helped. But I think like overall, like monetarily speaking, yes, it definitely has helped, especially on YouTube. It's a little bit more consistent than on like TikTok, where you can monetize it, but donations and whatnot, I'm not sure. I think the greater part has been just people knowing that we exist, that we're here, that our message getting out there about our history, about our mission, about the people that work here. That's been the most rewarding part, I think, for it, not necessarily money, which is really good. We need it for sure, but I think it's more about just people seeing us and learning from us, hopefully.
Yeah. Gretchen just asked, is there anything you would have done differently at the beginning? Jared, I really appreciate how you kind of lowered the bar of expectation, that it's going to start slow and that, some of your initial things won't be viral necessarily, but are there things that you wish you would, in hindsight, you would have done differently?
There is. I do think that I potentially created too much of a cult following of Howard. So by the time that we really had anybody else on camera in our print shop, it was about a year later. And so when I was on camera, it was what happened to the old guy. Like that, it wasn't even his name or anything like that.
Mm.
So I was contending with a lot of young people trying to be funny and making insults and everything like that, where our account really was me documenting my apprenticeship. And I wasn't gonna go like right into like printing in a video or anything like that. I think that we've done a lot better job now with having Howard filming me filming Howard. Sometimes Susan makes a guest appearance in the print shop, and Zoe, who's our education programs coordinator, she is sometimes in videos, and I still get the who's this new person, and it's like, Zoe's been working in this print shop for 7 years. You know, she's not, she knows how to do this. And so it just would have been better if I did really include more people earlier, just so that I just had a lot of different faces on camera.
Yeah.
To add to what Susan was mentioning about monetary, you know, we do get donations from TikTok. We are part of the we are monetized on YouTube. It's not like a lot, and that's why I don't necessarily like to talk about it, because I don't want anybody to expect the same thing. Last year, TikTok sent us a $25,000 check just for being us. It was part of their giving
Wow.
season. They were giving it out to a lot of different nonprofits. So the news, though, picked up on it at the same time that we reached 2 million followers. So they thought it was the same thing. They thought I was having to contend with a lot of angry emails from TikTok saying like, that's not what we gave you the money for. Can you correct that? And so we do get donations. We do go live on TikTok sometimes, and people can donate during our live and stuff like that, but nothing is necessarily consistent or something to rely on. Above all, what I think is really important, this is something that our executive director has told me before, we are getting free advertising that you would think that you'd have to buy ad space on a billboard on the freeway for. You know, when we would have an event, we would have to like hope and pray that the news would come down and do a story to help push it. And now we were having the news show up just because of a video that we posted and everything like that. So that's what I think is the best thing, is that we got a lot of free advertising. We helped with a lot of fundamental issues that we had before the pandemic. People did not know we existed. We have people that live in Sacramento that did not know we were here. Everybody thought we were part of a museum that was next door to us, the California State Railroad Museum. And that, above all, I hope what this has helped with is getting our name out there to people so they know that who we are. And I think that's above all has been the best thing, that we've helped with just brand awareness, essentially, in our videos. We are the Sacramento History Museum, and we are also in Old Sacramento as a museum, and not the Railroad Museum.
Yeah.
Which
And
is a wonderful museum as well. But
No shade to the Railroad Museum, but yes, I absolutely, both you and Susan really emphasize that awareness raising for a smaller nonprofit. And certainly that's very relevant for us in this group with our local associations. How, what are the ways that we can leverage these tools to raise awareness so that people know that we're out there, that often people aren't aware of us. So that's really relevant. I also appreciated, Jared, you mentioned that you don't have to have necessarily thousands of followers, because these things kind of take off on their own because of the algorithms and the nature of the platform. Are there any other questions for Susan and Jared before we wrap up with a couple of live business items? Okay. I mean, you shared so much. This was just really extraordinary. I feel like, oh, how much time responding, Gretchen? What? Oh, Jerry, I'm sorry, Jerry, what do you mean?
This has been great. You mentioned that you want to respond when somebody makes a comment. About how much time does that involve? Thanks.
All depends on how successful the video is and how many comments there are. Sometimes we just sort of have to wash our hands of a video if it goes too viral or something like that. But I try to at least spend some time answering a lot of the core questions that get asked in the video, or at least liking, some of the positive comments, deleting the bad comments that with having an audience like this, you get the good and the bad. And there's nothing wrong with, I think, deleting the hateful stuff. But it really depends. Those are things that I sort of like do when I'm at home watching TV, kind of a thing. So I don't know how to accurately gauge. Usually my time here, since my time is limited at the museum physically, I want to get as much stuff filmed and accomplished as possible here, and I take care of like editing or commenting and stuff like that at home at a more leisure time.
Seems like a good volunteer opportunity to help manage some of those comments. We have volunteers who help with our social media moderation. So just throwing that out there, because that's our shtick here. Thank you so much.
Executive director said an intern would be perfect.
Internship would be a great option as well. We have lots of volunteers who help with this at my organization. So this has been so incredibly generous of you to share all of this information. It's quite unique what you've done, and clearly has been really revolutionary in your organization. I'm incredibly impressed, and I feel like more people need to hear your story from you, Susan and Jared specifically. I think this is so valuable for those of us in the nonprofit world, whether we're in a large media organization or in a very small local association and everywhere in between. This has been incredibly valuable. I work in a media organization. I've loved hearing all of this. This is amazing, amazing work you've done. So thank you so much. It's so generous. I hope more people hear from you in different ways. And speaking of that, there are a lot of people who can't come today are going to be watching this on video. So hi, if you're watching on video, and I really appreciate the kind of impact that this information is going to make for all of these, not only these local associations, but for everyone who serves in these local associations, in their programs and their missions and their volunteers. It's a very wide reach, and we're just so grateful for you sharing all of this information. And hearing from Danielle, of course, was really important and valuable as well. So thank you. And while I'm at it, can we just give big shout out to Mary Lynn Perry for basically doing every bit of legwork in getting Susan and Jared and Danielle. She had heard from these folks before and went, wow, this is amazing, and more people need to hear about it. And now I get it. And she just made all of this happen. So Mary Lynn, you're amazing, and thank you so much for everything you contribute. Just yay. So a little bit of a live business before we wrap up. So we've got some exciting things coming up. Our next Alive Academy is on September 28th. Gretchen, oh, is it, do you know the topic of that academy, Gretchen?
Yeah, it's about making your inclusive, and it's about inclusiveness.
Oh,
So
great. Okay,
I
great.
kept it really vague so you would go and look at the calendar.
Oh,
So then you'll sign up.
sneaky. So go and check out the calendar if you want to know what it's about. But well, inclusion is always a good topic. So I'm glad to hear that. Then the social is coming up. If you want to come and join fellow Alive members for some networking opportunities, please check your inbox or your spam folder for Alive's member surveys. We really want to hear from members about your experience of the organization, what you're needing from us, what can we be doing better. So please do give us your feedback. We really take it seriously, and we want to hear from you. Don't forget the hybrid conference is coming up October 18th or 19th, depending where you are geographically. There are opportunities to view that with your local associations, depending on where you are, or you can register as an individual attendee and check that out. Should I be quiet about the topic on that? It's about program evaluation and some really interesting topics related to that. So that's just a little taste. And then also our local association summit is coming up on November 3rd. Now that is where we will gather as local associations from all across the country. We'll discuss some of these topics that are so relevant to all of us, you know, like succession planning or membership, or how do we get board members, you know, all of these kinds of things that we in local associations that we are attuned to pretty frequently. So please join us in November for that. We'll have 2 hours. We'll break into small groups and share, and then come back and share out. So it'll be very interactive. You'll get to be in conversation with people leading local associations from all across the country. So we'll hope you'll join us for that. And then, of course, always check out the Alive website, sign up on the calendar to register for the events. And thank you for joining us, either live or via or recording. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you, everyone. It was great to see you all, and we will see you online hopefully next week.
Happy fall.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Thanks.
Bye.